Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people of the world, welcome back to Shipenomics. I brought you the worst of the worst in episode 2, and now I'm here to bring you the best of the best. I'm going to play through my favorite ships at each tier, and I'm going to start with 3. I'm going to work my way up to Legendary. Now, the reason I wanted to do this is because, obviously, with making a video about my least favorite ships to play, you're probably wondering, what's Jank's favorite ships to play? Well, there's not going to be a ton of variety here because I'm a battleship main. Most of my favorite ships are, in fact, battleships. So it's not gonna be a whole lot of variety, but I will show you my favorite ships at each tier, and I will let you know on what some of my honorable mention ships are, and we'll go from there. So, most of you know that I run Sims. I'm running him with Andrew Cunningham, and I'm running him with Paulo de Revel for a quicker reload. So we'll get into it. The first ship I have here is the Arkansas. Arkansas has a 45,000 hit points, 13% torpedo reduction damage. It's not that great, but we're talking about a pre-World War I dreadnought here. The artillery, fairly decent. 28-second reload. We have 12 12-inch guns, so that's a plus. And we have some really, really good secondaries that reach out to 5.4, and they are fairly accurate. And that's actually arguably why I like the ship at Tier 3, because pesky destroyers tend to do pesky things, and I don't like pesky destroyers doing pesky things. Now, you might be wondering, Jank, this looks kind of barren. Where's the 5th slot here? You guys guessed it. There's no AA on this ship. Welcome to pre-World War I dreadnought, where the carrier gets to have his way with me. Well, why is that your favorite ship then, Jank? Because it's still a hitter, it's still a heavy hitter, and it's still a great ship at this tier. I think it's pretty accurate for a Tier 3, and I just happen to like it. So, there it is. 1912 was when she first set sail. That was right around the era of the Wright brothers, if you want to make a joke about that. So, literally, it doesn't have any AA. Back then, they couldn't have imagined that somebody would be able to drop a bomb out of an airplane or launch a torpedo off of one either. So, there you have it, folks. I'm going to play the Arkansas, number 1. Now I'm going to try and vary it up a little bit. I mean, most of you get to see some of the ships that I like to play, or at least some of the ships that I played during the Battleship Aiming Systems video. What I want to do, though, is I want to make sure that I spice it up a little bit, give it a little bit of variety. Here at Tier 3, there's not a whole lot of that. If I were going to make an honorable mention ship at Tier 3, though, the Nassau is a really good pick, as well as the Wyoming that I really like. Not a big fan of the Kaiser or what's the French one there? I think it's the French one's a Corbeil. I'm not a big fan of those. Just I don't know. They're not my thing. So I like having more guns in the fight at this tier. So we are getting into ourselves into a Tier 3, Tier 4. And you know my thing, I always take a look, see what I'm going up against. A lot of cruisers. A lot of cruisers at this tier. So I like seeing that. Especially when I'm in my battleship. I tend to do nasty things in ships like that. Or tend to do nasty things to ships like that when I'm in this thing. So it's slow. It is pretty unremarkable as a Tier 3, but again, it tends to shine at close range when you need secondaries to get in there and do some in close and personal work. And you'll notice that we have unlimited damage controls. We have 3 repair parties, but we also have 3 secondary enhanced boosters. So those are going to come in handy. Now, right off the bat here, I'm noticing an Omaha. I'm guessing he's going to go broadside. And that looks like what he's doing. So I'm going to go ahead and throw some shells at him and see what happens. And right on cue, we have our first dev strike. Just kind of what I do, folks. Oh, look it. We have another candidate. It's Akuma, and he's pushing in, and he's going right through B. Perfect. Let's see what we can do. Time to aim. Time to fire. Shots out. Oh, and just like that, we have our second dev strike in as many salvos. Guys, this is what I do. And this is why this ship continues to be one of my favorites. There's nothing more satisfying than dev striking people. I mean, there's different things you can do, like, oh yeah, I sank a Cleveland in my, Missouri or whatever. There's just something fun and unique about absolutely one-shotting somebody and then arguably having them spike their controller or smash their TV or having to rage, just absolutely rage and have to go to the store and go buy a new controller because they just shattered their old one. So, all right, now we know there's a destroyer over here, but I'm not spotted, so I'm guessing that destroyer is going to be over here behind this island. And there he is. Yeah. You're not being too sneaky, man. You're not pulling one over my eyes. Old Jank's too smart for that. All right. Now I'm gonna get my guns rotated around. I might as well just go ahead and load HE. So that way maybe I can get a third devastating strike here. We'll see what happens. Oh, there we go. Well, why not? Let's just engage the secondaries. Come on. There we go. There's the secondaries. Those are all the secondaries you're looking for. Ugh. Ugh. I was really hoping for that. Ah, well, it happens. Secondary still engaged? Oh, nope. Phoenix is going to get him. That's okay. All right, now it's time to roll back to AP. So we're running away with this one. We're already 7 on 4. We're getting this cap. We're all bunched up over here. We got cruiser support. We got another battleship in support. We even got a destroyer out front running the screen for us. So we know what's out front of us. We're not going to be surprised by what we see. Well, this is another reason that I like to play battleships, is simply because it allows me time to adapt to the battlefield and kind of scan it and be able to call the shots if I can for my team. Are people outside of a division or random people that I run into during a game going to necessarily listen to me? No, probably not. But at least at this point, 2.5 years into this game, I do have a little bit of name recognition, so I do have to tend to believe from time to time that when I blip a target and say, hey, focus this target, or blip a sector to let them know that I think a destroyer's over here throwing torpedoes or something like that, I have to believe that people at this point at least tend to listen to me sometimes. The one thing that will drive you nuts, though, at these lower tiers 3 and 4, people just waste their games. They waste their ship away. They do dumb things like, YOLOing into a cap with no support, just goofy things like that. And destroyers getting spotted, all sorts of things. That's the one thing that you just kind of have to mentally prepare yourself for. You're not going to be able to do anything about that, and there's nothing you can do. So just embrace the suck. Okay, now we do have a Texas over here. He does have 14-inch guns, so those will hurt my ship. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get the shot lined up. Some shells. Hopefully they can do a little bit of damage. Alright, so we got 3,000. Not the worst, not the best. But it looks like this side of the map, looks like they overwhelmed them a little bit here. They got 3 of our ships off the map, and we are on a 6v4 at the moment. Go ahead and throw some shells at that Kaiser. I know he's angling out, so I'm going to try and throw these in the superstructure to maximize damage. And there we go. We'll take 5 grand. That's okay. You just want to keep doing damage and just keep the DPM up. Just keep your damage per minute going as high as you can. That's what's going to help you win the game. So I think you guys saw me showcase this ship a little bit during the Shipenomics video. And you also saw me showcase my favorite ship at Tier 4, which was the Nikolai. So because of that, I'm gonna let the Nikolai be my honorable mention, and I'm probably gonna end up taking a different ship. All right, we got 2 penetration hits. That's all right. Like I said, everybody, you just gotta kind of keep the DPM going. Just keep your damage per minute up, and keep it going. Ouch. All right, I think what I'm going to do here. Oh, I'm gonna shoot the salvo at this Okadnik, and then I'm gonna whip it around. There we go. That's kill number 3. Now I'm gonna whip the ship around because I want to get all my guns to bear on the left side of my ship as we come up on these 2 battleships. Because I don't want to sail around around this island on the backside and take myself completely out of the game. That is not my definition of doing this right. Oh, oh, that hurts. That smarts. Alright, so we're at 3 kills. We're at 63,000 damage. This is kind of the fun thing with these, dreadnoughts at these tiers, because you're able to take damage and you're able to dish it. And that's pretty much the way I like playing these ships. That's why I like playing battleships. That's why I'm a BB main, and I've been a BB main for all the 2.5 years I've been playing the game. All right, I know this Texas is here somewhere, and I don't want to get out here too far, because if he hits me hard, that is going to hurt me plenty, and I don't want that. Instead, what I'm going to do, let's get my secondaries involved. There we go. That's the hit I'm looking for. And just like that, we have a high caliber. So everybody knows me by now. They know that I'm not cherry-picking games. They know I'm just hitting the record button and I'm talking you through them, okay? It's to me, these can be an average game. They can be a great game. Or they can be just a completely superfly game that you've just never seen from anybody be able to do in their entire life. But I'm looking to hit this guy. I'm looking to get kill number 4 off him, and here we go. There we go. All right, we got 1 left. We're at 4 kills. We're at 88,000 damage. All right, is it possible we can get a Kraken at tier 3? Of course it is. It's always possible to get a Kraken. We just got to kind of play our cards right a little bit. Good thing that helps is they do have 1 cap going for them, so it's not like we're going to point them out. This guy is going to have to get killed. And that brings us to 92,000. So, it's going to be interesting to see what this Kaiser is going to do against the Koenig. He's a tier 3 versus the tier 4 tech tree ship. Both German ships, that is. So I'm hoping he'll turn his broadside toward me a little bit here. If they can make that work, we may have a chance to get him right here. But we're going to have to kind of time our shot right, and we're going to have to make sure that these shells land right on target. Because we're only going to get 1 shot at this. I'm pretty sure this Koenig is going to be able to blast that Kaiser pretty well. I want to make sure I get all 12 of my shells in range, on target. Holding that salvo. I'm going to hold this salvo. I want to make sure that I'm doing this right, so let's see. He's going to turn in. Perfect. Turn in, turn in, turn in. Turn in. There it is. There it is. Time to shoot. Am I going to get it? Are we going to get it? Oh, no! But we got the Confederate right at the end. That's all right. I'll take 2 out of the 4 heroic medals in 1 game. Even if I know you got to play a tier 5 to get them. So, all right. Not a bad game. 2,000. 4 kills. Wow. The Koenig got 4 kills himself. What a game. Good job. All right. So, without further ado, let's move on. We're going to go up to tier 4. So I'm going to kind of throw you guys for a loop here. There's some ships I really like at tier 4. Arguably, it's the Nikolai is my favorite at tier 4, but since I showcased it really, really well during the what that ship can do during the Battleship Aiming Systems video that I did, I'm going to pick a different ship. And I do like the Farragut as a destroyer at tier 4. I'm not a huge fan of any of the cruisers yet until we hit like tier 6 and tier 7. So I'm just going to stay away from talking about the cruisers in general at this point. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Nevada. So I like the Nevada as opposed to the New York or the Texas or even the Oklahoma. I tend to get really trolly dispersion with that Oklahoma for some reason. And it seems like I have many more shots that are on target with good dispersion when I play the Nevada as opposed to the Oklahoma. So at tier 4, I'm going to take the Nevada. It's a good ship. Don't sit on it. It's the tier 4 at the alternate tech tree. You're going to see that it's an American battleship. So I didn't go through and talk about William Sims or anything like that because you already saw it from most of the videos that I've made up to this point. All right, so we're in a tier 4 and tier 5 match. So we got to be a little bit risk adverse at this point. We don't want to be YOLOing caps, but we want to make sure that we're getting our guns into a position that we can help our team even if we're a tier 4 battleship. It's still a very good ship and it's still very formidable. And when we're talking about 3 cruisers and 3 tier 4 battleships, all of which I think I have a damn good chance of sinking. The only ones that really concern me right now are the Tennessee and the New Mexico, and well, obviously the Fusion because he's got those torpedoes that are going to be right up on top of me. So, and what I mean by that, if anybody hasn't seen any of the videos yet about the Pan Asian line, the Pan Asian line has something called these deep water torpedoes, and the cool thing about the deep water torpedoes is they're really, really hard to detect. They're right up on a ship before you're able to detect them, and they do pretty good damage. The crummy thing about the Pan Asian deep water torpedoes is they don't hit destroyers. And a lot of people seem to either forget that or they do it for one of 2 reasons. One, they want to scare somebody into leaving their smoke because they forget. Or option 2, they fire them in a area denial kind of way. Okay, so it's not like somebody just randomly throws their torpedoes for the sake of it. Sometimes people actually use those torpedoes to their advantage. If I want to scare a destroyer, or if I want to, say I'm about to get dev struck, I will just randomly throw my torpedoes and hope they hit something. There's nothing wrong with that. So before you think everybody's a potato for throwing their torpedoes, there is some reasons why people do that as well. All right, so I'm pushing up into a position where I'm going to end up having to gunfight at Tennessee, which that kind of sucks. My ship does get overmatched by 14-inch shells. His does not. So I have to hope that I can play the position game a little bit better than what he can. Now, I got to hope my team is going to put their guns to bear on that Bujani right there. Bujani, whatever. I don't know. I speak Wisconsin, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint how to pronounce some of those ships sometimes, Actually, somebody the other day, I really appreciate it. They told me, ooh, that's a good salvo. Look at the tight dispersion on that one. Look at that, 8,600 damage. That's what I'm talking about. I get some decent dispersion in this ship. Good shell grouping, decent dispersion. So somebody corrected me the other day. I've been pronouncing the Weiser wrong. It is actually pronounced Weiser. It's the Weiser. Apparently the German W is actually Weiser. So I appreciate whoever did that. I appreciate it. I'm giving you a shout out. All right, shots out at the Texas. So like I said, I'm getting myself into a position where I'm area denial. Okay, we got 4 penetration. That's a good hit. Up to 21,000 damage on that Texas alone. Now he has thrown his salvo here. We got to be very cautious, very careful. Oh, and that was a big hit. That was a nasty big hit. Yeah, he took a big chunk out of me there. Oh, and we got the Bujani right here. Okay, hold on. Let's go ahead and take care of that problem. I'm only going to throw 1 gun at it. See if I can get him here. That should do the trick. Yep, there we go. I don't want to waste all my guns. Not in this position. I know that I got a Tennessee right here. I know I got a Texas pulling up on me. Now you see that I've been slowing down now for probably the last minute, and this is the reason why. I'm getting myself into a position now where I can back up and start using my teammates for a Wilderer build, because I know when I'm in a tier 4 battleship in a tier 5 game, I'm gonna get into some gunfights here, and I need to stay alive as long as I can. We are denying these guys A as best we can. I'm gonna wait until the other stuff reloads here, and we do have the Fusion here. So Mojo Liam, we're familiar with Mojo Liam. He's a friend of ours. Oh, and he's going to get us with one there. That hurts. No flood, though. That's a good thing. All right, here we go. So I can overmatch the Texas as well, and that's why I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to go ahead and throw those. See if I can overmatch this Texas. Not too good of a hit, but not bad either. Not bad either. So now I run Wilder build on almost every single one of my builds, and it's because of this right here. I have a 20% buffer, and I need to keep that 20% buffer. Hoping that this Tennessee doesn't kill me, but if he does, he does. It's going to happen. Ooh. There we go. Shots out. Hopefully those get there. There it is. That's a Citadel. That's a kill. That's what we want to see right there, boys and girls. All right. Like I said, we got to help out the team best we can. So I want to make sure that I'm blipping the area here to let people know. I think there's a destroyer up here. I'm going to launch my plane because I have to believe at some point here the Fushin's going to get his torpedoes back, and it's going to help me spot some of these things. Ooh, there we go. Smacked in the nose for 14,000. All right, so our Wilder build brings us back to just under 10,000. Is that going to be enough to mitigate one of these torpedoes? Probably not, but I'm hoping that at some point here we're going to have some support heading our way. So actually right now I'm probably going to end up going forward here, and what I want to do is I just want to kind of throw the destroyer for a loop. And the longer I can delay that destroyer from killing me means that the longer I can delay him from killing one of my friends. Here they come. I don't think I'm going to be able to avoid this one. Yep. Yep, that's going to hurt. Ugh. Nothing you can do. That's all right, though. It's a good ship. There's nothing wrong with this ship. We're at 5-on-4. I'm not going to stick around for the end of this. I just want to show you guys that I do like this ship. It's tough sometimes when you get into these games. You get overmatched, and we did end up with 2 kills, 35,000 damage. Not great game, but it doesn't fully showcase it sometimes. All right, moving right up the tier system here. Without question, my favorite ship is the California at tier 5. Are there some other great options at tier 5? Yes, there's a lot of good ships at tier 5. Again, I try to stay away from the ones that I don't like playing very well just yet, because the cruisers at tier 4, tier 3, tier 5, I really struggle with them because I don't like the fact that I don't have access to that 3rd mod slot, which is the extra rudder shift that you can put on those ships. I'd like to be able to avoid shells, and I'm not able to do it very well at these tiers. And pretty much every one of these cruisers just gets overmatched. So everybody would be asking, what's your favorite ship to play at tier 5? Without question, my favorite ship is the California, but in a very close second, it's the Arizona and the West Virginia. And I want to be able to showcase the Arizona today. So California takes the edge in my book just because of the fact that it has a beautiful AA system on it. And I will go ahead and show you that. Now that we've implemented carriers, it's got an 87 rating on its AA defenses. It's amazing at taking care of those pesky airplanes. And that is the reason why the California is my number 1 at tier 5. So my honorable mention, though, is the Arizona. The Arizona has a slightly longer reload, but she tends to be a little bit better of a sniper. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump into my Arizona. And if you notice, this ship, I have the most amount of elite XP out of all of my ships. I've played a ton of games in this. It's not my most played ship, but she's a close second right now. Alrighty, so we ended up on fault line. Let's go ahead and take a look what we got. We don't tend to get fault line a whole lot anymore. This is one of those maps for me where I tend to either do pretty well or pretty crummy. We did end up in a good tier 4, a tier 5 with a slight tier 6 edge to a York and an Akatsuki on the enemy team. So what does that mean? That means we really got to be careful of that Akatsuki. Excuse me. Paul Walker, interesting name. All right, so I'm pushing in this position right here because what I plan on doing is I plan on facing my bow towards B, but I also want to get myself into a position where I can shoot across at people like this. So we do have a West Virginia pushing in. We have to be cautious of that because he can overmatch us. And we have a York pushing C. Now the crummy part about the York pushing C is he's likely going to overwhelm our Jervis, and I don't want that to happen. So what I might try to do here is I might try to get up to this canal here if I can. And that way I can get a salvo on him. All right, so I'm trying to bow tank that California right now because what I really want to do is I want to get myself into a position here where I can shoot this York when he tries to come across the captain on C here. And it does look like he's still coming. Unfortunately, I'm just eating shells in the meantime. Here he comes. That's what I was hoping for. Boy, that's it. Just 3 overpens. I mean, that's brutal. That is absolutely brutal to get something like that. To make that move right there and only get that, that's brutal. That's RNG brutal. Fortunately, now I have to deal with the West Virginia, and he is not going to be too kind to me. Nor is the Molotov or the California now that I've pushed into this position. So I really got to hope that I get some shells on target here in this next salvo. With the worst dispersion I've just about ever seen. Look at that. Oh, that's nasty. That is nasty trolling dispersion right there. I'm just going to go ahead and start angling out. So we're getting overwhelmed over here. Sometimes you just got to go broadside and take that. For this shot right here. There's a Citadel. Yeah, we needed that one. Yep, this is going to be a rough one. No doubt. Look at the amount of shells we're taking from everybody. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is going to be end up being a bad game. Nothing you can do on this one. We had no team, no support. Oh, there we go. I got a dev strike right before I die. So, not a good game. Just not. Bad team, not good right there. We screwed that up, and then we got overwhelmed by 6 ships over here. And our destroyer on B went completely around an island to try and shoot somebody from behind, which is not what you want to be doing in a destroyer on this level, or this map. So between that and the Jervis that was over here, they did close to nothing to help this team right there. Nothing you can do about that one. All right, so we have tier 5 out of the way. Go ahead and do tier 6. There's a lot of good ships at tier 6. Arguably, my favorite one is North Carolina, but I think I took a lot. Like I said, I think I took most of my favorite ships out during the battleship aiming mechanics. But there is another ship that I really wanted to highlight here. The Leon was actually the one that I took out, and that's a great ship. So I will be taking out my favorite one. It's the North Carolina. She's a great boat. She's the show boat. All right, so we end up on hotspot. Typically, we end up getting tier 7s in this one, but we ended up with a tier 5, tier 6 game, so that's kind of nice. It is really nice to not have to worry about getting overmatched by almost every single tier 7 battleship. And when I look at the screen here, I do have 3 tier 5 battleships. I have 2 tier 6 King Georges. So I know what the King Georges are setting out to do. They're loading HE as we speak, and they're coating them with napalm. And they're doing everything they can to burn the world down and be pyromaniacs. I do not want to be their target. So I'm not really sure what the Glacineer's doing here. Maybe that's his friend over there in the Z35. I have no idea. But that's not smart, and he doesn't look like he's willing to help myself or the Akatsuki right now. So it looks like we're going to be on our own over here on C-Cap. Unless we get this destroyer coming. And yeah, he did. He is coming. And now he's shooting the sign up. Interesting. Again, if he sits back there and he does that the entire game, he's not helping anybody except maybe being spotted. But I don't see anybody right now shooting back at him yet. So if you do that like once or twice to get a hold of your buddy, or you blip your buddy a couple times because you got into a match with him, I totally get that and I totally understand it, and I think most players in the player base understand that too. But when you sit there and do that for an entire game and then reverse to the back of the map, that's just being stupid. But there you go, guys. I mean, that's showcasing it right there. That's showcasing some of the reasons why people get frustrated in this game and really get disappointed and start walking away from this game because people like that don't play as a team. So now he's just sitting here shooting at me. Yeah, you're a great guy. I have no idea who that is. I have no idea. Never played with that person in my entire life. All right, so it looks like I'm going to be going up against the double battleships of Ishmael and Warspite. So arguably the bigger threat to me is going to be the Warspite because he's got 15-inch shells and he can overmatch me. The thing, though, is I can really work on, or at least the one thing that I can do to help this team right off the bat would be able to put a huge salvo on that Ishmael and dev strike him. The Ishmael sailing broadside is one of the most volatile things in the game. It has an above the waterline citadel, and it is very easy to citadel that ship by 13, 14, 15, 16-inch guns. And if somebody's sailing broadside in that thing, they can get slapped around. And I'm hoping to showcase that right here. So here's the plane up. Here's the shots out. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a double citadel. That is exactly what I'm talking about. So now he's going to be a little upset. He's going to start throwing his shells at me. I'm going to start angling out. Meanwhile, the Warspite's probably going to shoot over my head. Yep, there we go. And I'm going to get my guns to bear to finish off this Ishmael. There we go. How goes the breaker? All right, now I'm going to put myself into a position where I don't have to continue to kite away from a Warspite. I know what he has. I know what he's capable of. But I also know that my guns can overmatch his armor as well, because I got beautiful 16-inch guns on this North Carolina. Now, this is why I want this ship is one of my favorites. It maneuvers well. It shoots well. It does everything that Jank wants it to do. Shots out. There it is. There's a good salvo. 3 pens. That brings me up to 1 kill and 76,000 damage, and we're only a couple minutes into this one. So this is what we got to do. We got to take care of our side, and when we're done taking care of our side, we can roll around to the other side and start taking care of business over there in case our team can't do it themselves. This is what we have to do. Focus on winning your side, and if you're spawned on the weak side, then you just got to worry about doing whatever you can to stay alive. All right, so Zara's going to sail broadside. I'm going to shoot these. Looks like he's going to start kiting out. Yep, okay. So I maybe led those a little bit too much. Did get 1 penetration hit there, which not great, but at least I didn't miss every single shot. That's the benefit of having a Tier 6 cruiser. You can start maneuvering a little bit more than what you can at Tier 4 and Tier 5. Now, the worst. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what I mean by overmatching, and this is gonna be a prime example right here. This Warspite, I'm gonna punch him right through the nose with these 16-inch guns. There it is. That was 3 penetrations right through the nose of that Warspite. So now I want to get my rear end going toward him so that he doesn't overmatch the hell out of me, because I do have armor that can be overmatched. I'm only looking at 25 millimeter belt armor here. That's kind of how they balanced out the North Carolina at this tier. And I think that torpedo is going to take care of that. Yep, there we go. Well played. And now we have a Wild Zara has appeared. Wild Zara is trying to turn out from Jank's 6 16-inch shells. Go ahead and hold those for me. There we go. Keep holding. Keep holding, caller. Yeah, go ahead and start turning out. I'm going to hold this shot. I'm going to give the full salvo on this one. Well, your smoke will be gone in a little bit. Alright, so I see I got some damage that I can repair back. Well, I'm getting my gun swung around to the right side because now I want to start angling toward... Now I want to start angling back towards the other side of the map, just in case those 3 battleships are able to overwhelm the 4 ships that we have. It almost appears that the Synop has been AFK and has never even moved off our spawn, so it's kind of interesting.
Our victory is in sight.
And as you can see here, the Wild Zara is a little angry with me. Go ahead and hold those for me. You're close enough that you can try to kite out, but you're still going to take some damage. There we go. One overpen, 2 ricochets. Interesting that you can ricochet a 16-inch shell, but I can live with that. Don't worry, sweetheart. I'll get you. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Now he is angling in, so he's not going to be able to rudder shift out of that one. Slightly bad shot there. I actually aimed a little bit behind him there. That is one of those rare moments where Jank does not have the kind of aim that I kind of pride myself on having. But hey, who needs it when you got an Akatsuki? Well played. All right, Akatsuki. You're a good man. All right, now Tennessee is rolled up on us. Let's go ahead and get our guns to bear on that Tennessee. Now, we can overmatch Tennessee as well. We got the 16s. He doesn't. He's got 14s. So I'll go ahead and throw these shells like so. There's the high caliber we're looking for. That brings us to 134,000 damage. But now you can see those 3 battleships on the other side of the map, they're kind of clearing house over there. And this is exactly why I wanted to whip my ship around and just kind of delay these shots on the Zara, because I want to get going back the other way. I don't want to have my team in a bad way because I took my guns completely out of the game by putting my battleship into a bad position that I can't help them. Interesting that he's spamming HE at me with Tennessee. Perfect. This is still a very much losable game. We did have 3 of the caps for a good chunk of this game, so that's nice. But at the same time, if he gets that Tennessee, that's gonna do it. I think that's gonna give us the 10,000. No, just short. Okay. Well played, Z35. And we did all that without a sign-up. He's been sitting there the entire game. Another frustrating thing about this game, and a feature that some of us just slap ourselves silly over. Stuff like that.
Battle ends in 5 minutes.
Ooh, the King George. Got one of our guys delaying the inevitable. A victory for us. So that double King George division, they did a pretty good job over here. The problem was I don't think their team did enough to help them out. And he is just out of my range right now, so I can't even shoot him. Max range shot. I don't think it's going to quite get there, though, before the timer runs out. Yeah, and they all fell short, so that's all right. It's not a bad game, and it's not a bad way to showcase North Carolina and why she's my favorite ship at Tier 6. During battleship aiming systems, I think I played the Lenin at Tier 7, and she is a darn good ship, one of my favorites. But since then, I've gotten a new ship. And a lot of people have seen me showcase it. Some of you maybe haven't. And I'm looking forward to actually being able to show you guys what this thing's all about. Because some of you I know are still doing this grind because they're like, well, how on earth did you get to Missouri? And let me tell you, it was a grind. I completed every arena. I completed every ranked out #1, top 1%. And I did everything that I possibly could to grind out the steel, and I have her. Here she is. Great ship. So I actually have it set up a little different than what most people are probably thinking. I got it set up with Sims, so it's still a dispersion sniper build. But she does have a 5-second better reload than what most people are accustomed to seeing in Missouri with the typical 30-second reloads with the artillery plotting room. So I am running Sims on it, but again, it's I'm running Artillery Mod 3 instead of Artillery Plotting Room to give me a little bit of extra reload boost back. And the one thing that shines about this ship is right there. The AA defense on this ship is 100. It's a monster. Um, the guys that I play with love seeing me showcase this ship and take it out into battle. Because of that, I can take care of planes really easy. But also, I get one of these. I get a radar, and not only do I get a radar, I get two of them. So I get two. I can use it twice, and it lasts for 35 seconds. And it detects people out to 9.5 kilometers. That's amazingly strong and a unique perk to have on a battleship. It's the only battleship in the game that has this, and that is why I'm going to take this out into battle. Between her and the Lenin, they're my favorites at Tier 7. So I got some honorable mentions that I want to go over. At Tier 5, I think I talked about the California, West Virginia. I like my American battleships. Don't hate on me. But at tier 6, I really like the Leon. The Leon carried me through some games. The Nelson's another good ship at tier 6. But that North Carolina, she's my baby. That's one of the ships that I've wanted in this game since this game came out and since I've been playing. Some of the cruisers and destroyers I could talk about at Tier 6, and I could go on and on about some of the great ships that I really like to play. There's a plethora of ships that once I get higher up into the tiers, I can really talk about playing and that I have fun playing. Z-35 being one of those destroyers at Tier 6. Love that ship. One of my favorites. Indianapolis and the Indianapolis B at Tier at Tier 6 for cruisers. Radar cruiser at Tier 6. It's amazing, and it's got 8-inch shells. They hit hard. They do damage. They work. So the one thing that I want to make sure that I don't do is I don't want to push up too hard here. I do have some friends on my team, so that's interesting. Miss Chick, Einhorn, and Cruzes. I don't think I've ever played Cruzes, but I'm familiar with Einhorn, and I'm familiar with or no, Einhorn. What am I saying? Einhorny. I'm very familiar with the movie reference on that one. Einhorn is a man. Oh God! For all you fans of Ace Ventura. So I'm gonna hit the brakes right here. I don't want to push too far forward. I'm kind of thinking the Massachusetts was going to oversend him, and he did. But now that he is reloading, I want to get myself into a position where I can shoot this Charles Martel. And I think what I'm going to end up having to do here is get my nose towards the Martel and just use my front guns to try and take care of it. And those are looking pretty decent. Hopefully they stay on target. There it is. Good shots. Citadels, that's what we're looking for. All right, but as you can see, nobody likes you because you're in a Missouri, you're in a ship that they want and they don't have. So what I got to kind of do is I just got to be careful. I can't push in too hard, but I got to make sure I get my guns back. And with that 25-second reload, it is just a dandy. It's beautiful to have those guns back as quickly as what I do. So, Bismarck's shooting at me from long range. Massachusetts shooting at me long range. Here you go, Bismarck. These are for you. Send those your way. Let you know I'm thinking about you. And Iowa is bow tanking us, so there's not much we can do about that one. Got a little bit of damage on that Bismarck. Not a ton, but enough. That now I can focus on this Tirpitz that's a little broadside to me. So I'm going to go ahead and damage control this. I'm not being spotted anymore. I'm going to go ahead and throw some shells at the Tirpitz. These 50 caliber guns are a lot flatter shooting than the 45 caliber 16-inch guns that you're accustomed to seeing on either the Alabama, the New York, or excuse me, the Alabama, the North Carolina, or the Massachusetts. I do have Iowa guns on this bad boy. He's pretty broadside. I'm hoping these end up on target really nice. I don't know what happened there. Oh, they completely missed. Wow. All right. Well, we are going to get the reload back. We got it right now. Shots are out. Chances are someone else going to yank that kill from us. They sure did. Yep, Bismarck got him. So this hasn't been a great game to showcase, just simply because right now we have ships kind of beating our shells to the target, beating them to the punch. Here's where I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to take care of this Martel. It's a fast-moving cruiser, but you don't want to go broadside in that ship, because bad things happen when you go broadside in that ship like that. Alright, so Massachusetts is going to continue bow tanking us. He is not going to back off. Which means that I'm going to have to do just about the same to him. Get my shells on target and let him work. I just put myself into a bad spot because I had that low yang pushing me so hard. I just gave up my broadside to the Massachusetts, and he can make me pay for this. The one nice thing I do have on this ship as opposed to the regular Iowa is the fact that I have a belt armor. I have belt armor that's a little bit stronger than the Iowa, and that is one of the armor perks of this ship over the Iowa itself. Wargaming wasn't lying when they said they wanted to make this ship extremely difficult for people to try and allocate. There we go, there's 5,000 more. So my superstructure has been pretty well saturated, so I'm not really sure how much more damage they're going to be able to farm off me by shooting me in the superstructure. You do have different health points and health pools at different parts of your ship, so that is one of those things that can tend to drive a battleship player nuts. Hopefully this brings me up to 70,000. There it is. Ooh, and a Citadel on to boot. A Citadel and a Bismarck. How about that? 80,000 damage we're up to. But this is the kind of ship that you have to let the game come to you. You can't push as hard with this ship because it's not as maneuverable. So as soon as I fire, I'm already starting to try to bow tank back to him because I want to take the minimal amount of damage as possible from him. So with another good hit, we're up to 90,000. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's about just doing whatever you can to keep your guns going, keep them on target. With that 25-second reload, I'm almost reloading as fast as that Bismarck. He reloads pretty darn quick, but he's only got 15 in shells, and he's got 8 of them. And his guns aren't quite as accurate as what mine are. Oh, and then he takes a big blast of 21,000 from me. And now all that's left, now that the team has focused down the Massachusetts for me, all that we have left is that pesky Bismarck and the carrier. That should do it right there. Again, guys, these Iowa-class battleships, they have a great, I mean, they really do have some great accuracy, and it's almost difficult to say, well, they need more. I don't know. I don't know how you can make something as great as that greater. Yeah, of course you can, but I think there's other areas where you can improve it, and that's where I really enjoy this DPM build. Is there a way that you can make it reload fast? Yes, but you got to give up a ton of range, and I don't want to do that. I do not want to give up range on these ships at all. But there you go. I mean, you showcase what that ship is capable of, even after getting focus fired. So we just got done with three heroic medals. We now have the Dreadnought, we have the High Caliber medal, and we have the Confederate. I mean, the only one we're really short on right now is the actual Kraken itself. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna load up the legendary tier. I do have a favorite legendary tier, and I think most people are probably gonna understand what it is. This thing is a monster. I, as well as many other people, feel like this thing broke the game when they brought it in because the shells overmatch everything. Here it is, the Yamato, 90,000 health points, 55% torpedo damage reduction. That is huge. As long as you're taking torpedoes in the belt line, you're mitigating their damage by 55%. That's crazy nuts. 26.4-second reload, 19.1 kilometers. It's a great ship, and it is really, really hard to be citadeled by the Augustus von Parsons. It's got so much armor. The only spot that we've been able to figure out so far that is consistent where you can get citadel bomb hits is actually through the turrets. And then with that being said, the one drawback to our Yamato is that it's susceptible to HE fire damage. It takes a lot of fire damage because people tend to focus you down. The Conqueror is where that comes into play. And you cannot go broadside in this ship. I have a video, a small video clip that I took of my Baltimore. I was under 2 kilometers. I was able to citadel a Yamato. I was able to do an 8 citadel hit on a Yamato with my Baltimore. And if anybody knows, Baltimore's got 8-inch shells. They're 203s. Guys, that belt is tricky. You do not want to go broadside, whatever you do. The only time you want to give up your broadside is when you know that it's safe to do so. Is pretty much it. Okay, so we get into a game here, and it's interesting because we only have 2 legendaries. Each team has an Alaska, and each team has a Yamato. So it's going to be about which team has the better players and which team can piece it together and get a win for their team. So here we go. I do run the permanent camo on it. It's the one you can buy from the store. I got it fully upgraded. And I'm running Takeo Takagi at 16 Legend 3. I do want to get him up to 16.4. That Wilderer build circle can be really, really beneficial and useful. So the interesting thing about Two Brothers is you can't be too aggressive on Two Brothers. You really have to find a way to insert your guns, but use range to your advantage and not get focused. I want to get into a position here where I can get this Georgia going broadside. And I think I might have just shot over his head, which sucks, but all right. Yep, sure did. Okay, so we got New Orleans pushing in. It looks like this team's going to be really aggressive here. So what I'm already going to start doing is I'm going to start backing off. These guys are 13 kilometers away. I don't need to be that close. Got an Amagi going broadside. I want to get some shells on him. See if I can get a Citadel. Oh, we got one pen. We got one over pen. Like I said, all we got to do is keep our guns in the game here. There we go. There's a good hit on that Georgia. Overmatching him by a wide margin. I'm gonna let this one burn for a little bit. I don't wanna damage con this just yet. Alright, now we are safe to damage con it. I don't have anybody spotting me. Nobody is currently slinging HE at me, so that's when to me, when everybody says, you know, how do you use a damage con, that right there is a perfect example of how and when I would use a damage con right there. right, so I want to make that Alaska pay for doing that to me. I'm not a big fan of what he did. I'm just going to hold off here because I know my Vladivostok just shot his shot, and when they shoot, typically they're going to be maneuvering. So I don't want to waste that shot just yet. There we go. That's what I'm looking for, and that's a tight salvo. And we'll take 8,600 on him any day of the week. There's 2 more penetration hits on that Alaska. Now I'm hoping the Friesland can take out this Z-23, because if he can't, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble over here. And he sure did, right on cue. I still can't be that aggressive though, because we have an Alaska way out here on our flank who can light me on fire at will. And we have a battleship sitting behind that island in front. We have a Georgia sitting here that can devastate my broadside. And then we still have a New Orleans sitting out here somewhere. So we do have plenty of ships yet to shoot. I'm guessing that Amagi just took the brunt of that shot. That's what it seems like right there. I am giving up a lot of broadside to that Georgia, so I'm going to try and turn in the best I can. You get a pretty good slap on me, that's for sure. But never want to be flat broadside. That's dangerous for me. Alright, here's some good shells. Ooh, those are nice. Those are the kind of shells that I'm looking for when I talk about hitting an Amagi broadside. There it is. Oh! Oh! Get you some. There we go. That's the kind of shots that change the course of a game, and it was because we didn't get too aggressive. We didn't start pushing up right away. I'm going to get a shot at this broadside Alaska here pretty soon. I'm going to launch my spotter plane right now to make sure I get that shot. Here we go. Shots up. There it is. Good hit. 20,000 damage and another Citadel. That brings our grand total to 101,000, or almost 101,000. I tend to round up when I'm doing numbers. I don't like doing that whole 6-number thing. I'm not 100,816 and a half. No, just let's shoot these guys. All right, let's see if we can overmatch this Georgia. We're pushing in close enough to him now that we can do some serious damage to him through that bow. Now with a Vladivostok on my left, using will to rebuild, I don't have to worry too much about sitting back. Now we can play a little bit of offense. I'll go ahead and see if I can take care of this Georgia right now. See if we can overmatch the bow armor. Oof, 6,000 more. All right, so we do have an Oblivious Kutuzov sitting kind of broadside here. I'm going to go ahead and take a shot at that. Hoping that that drops in through for a Citadel kill. Oof. Nope, but there's the high caliber, and I don't mind seeing the high caliber medal. Anytime I can get some medals, let's do it. So, all right, we got the Alaska next, sitting pretty broadside. Give me 2 more seconds here. We should see the end of that thing. All right, Alaska, sayonara, buddy. There it is. That's the Citadel,
Enemy cruiser foundered.
bringing us to 133,000. Now that's a good game. Now here's where the cruiser squad is going to come into effect. What I want to do is I want to get this New Orleans out of the game so that he can't spot for the Kutuzov sitting in his smoke screen right now. So here comes the shots. I'm hoping to overmatch him and get a Citadel right through the bow here. Maybe didn't lead him as much as I should have. So that was a bad shot on my part, and I take full responsibility for that one. That's for sure. RNGesus didn't have anything to do with that. That was a bad shot on my part. There's some big shells going at the New Orleans right now. Yep, and he just ate it. There it is. I think he's in a bad way. Yep, he's getting docked by a Friesland. All right, guys. Well, that kind of tells you how to play some of these ships. It tells you some of my favorite ships, too. You know, I'm not going to scoff at 140,000 on a game like this. I think I set out to do exactly what I wanted to do. These are some of my favorite ships in the game. Honorable mentions at Legendary tier. I really like the gearing. The Kleber was fun up until they nerfed it. I'm not so much a fan of the Kleber anymore, just because of the suicide torps, and yeah. And he's not going to let me shoot him. Okay. Shots out. I think they may. Are they going to beat the? Are they going to beat the Vladivostok? No, Vladivostok got him. That's all right. High caliber metal, top of the team. I can live with that. So that kind of demonstrates the legendary tier. Here's how I run Takeo Takaga. I run. I don't feel like it needs Joe Jard on 18-inch shells, nor do 16-inch shells need it. I really think the place where it's needed is in the dispersion that you get from Scharnhorst and the shell grouping that you get from Andrew Cunningham. And I pretty much run these battleship commanders pretty standard right across the board. I don't really change up anything too extravagant, too significant. And that just about wraps it up for the ships that I really like. I mean, there are some dang good ships at every tier. Some of the other ones that I really like to play. You know, here's bringing up tier 7. I really like my Baltimore. Fletcher's a great ship. Wichita's an awesome ship too. But I like my American battleships, and that's kind of why I stuck to playing the Missouri, and why I wanted to showcase that one for you. Between the Missouri and the Lenin, those two are my favorite battleships at tier 7. I tend to not play the Japanese destroyers too much. I feel like after the destroyer nerf, the concealment nerf that they received, it's not as great as what it used to be. One of the ships that I really like to play at tier 7 that a lot of people don't like to play is the Albemarle. I have a decent rudder shift build on this thing, along with some range to boot, and this thing does a great job of using radar sonar to its advantage. Ships tend to struggle with hitting me because I got a pretty decent rudder shift established on this thing. And I mean, here's my maneuverability: 3.6 second rudder shift on a legendary, or excuse me, not a legendary, but a heavy cruiser. That's pretty remarkable, pretty awesome. And it's 10-second reload on 8-inch guns. What can go wrong with that? Especially with a 17% chance to start a fire. So. A lot of people don't like that ship. It is a floating citadel, but you can't go broadside in it. You got to use some of the belt armor to its advantage. And when I talk about belt armor, guys, I'm talking about stuff like this. Here's the armor scheme. It's got good armor. Look at the belt armor. It's 27 to 28 millimeter belt armor, along with 76 to 160 along the sides there. So if you angle this thing just right, I mean, the bow can get overmatched if they shoot you through the bow. But if they're aiming on the side here, a lot of times I get ricochets on angles like this. I get ricochets from 15 and 16 inch shells. It's just the way the armor scheme is. So that's what I mean when I talk about armor schemes. And I think some people maybe were asking about the Missouri. Here's the difference in the armor scheme on the Missouri. This thing has thicker belt armor, 34 to 75 millimeter belt armor, as opposed to the Iowa that doesn't have that. So that's why I'm able to ricochet and tank shells a little bit better with the Missouri than I am the Iowa. And a lot of people have said the same thing. It's not going to tank Iowa shells, but it does take them a lot better, and it does have a chance to ricochet some of those shells that you typically don't see in some of these ships. So that's my information dump for you guys. I realize that this video has been going for an hour and 10 minutes, and that's been way too long. And I just love to hear myself talk, obviously. Just kidding. But we kind of went on a little bit of a rant there, but at least I got to show you guys Tier 3 through Tier Legendary Tier, some of the battleships that I run, and some of my favorite ships in the game. So I'm entitling this one The Best of the Best. These are the ships that if you typically see me on the high seas, you're going to see me in these ships. And when you see me in these ships, I have an understanding of them because I played lots of games in them. And these are the ships that I say, if you see me in them, I'm in my sweaty try-hard mode, and I'm going to do everything I can to win the game. So with that being said, episode 3 of Shipenomics is in the book, and I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank all my fans for their support. I got a lot of people that laugh and talk with me every single day, to include my friends and family in real life. So, and I say real life because, let's be honest, the video game world is a whole different world than the real life. So, but I do have a lot of people giving me some positive feedback. I want to continue doing this stuff, and I hope that I can put out a product that you all enjoy. So I'm going to end it on that. You guys have a good day, have a good night, good afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. Peace out and have a safe trip home.